So, this arrived in the post recently. This is my certificate to show that I completed the Young Learners course that we had here at International House Bielsko-Biala at the end of last year. To give it its full designation, this is the International House Certificate in Teaching Young Learners and Teenagers. Now, when I first signed up for this course, I thought that it was going to be like a little supplement sort of thing compared to the original CTYLT that I did. And to be honest, I was blown away by just how much there was here. I'll show you my folder with all my notes and the handouts from the course. So here are all the different parts of the course, all the different lectures that we attended and workshops. So you can see all the different topics that we did going down here, and for most of them there was some sort of a task associated. So basically you had to do a number of portfolio tasks, almost one for every topic that you covered. So for example, there was we had a session on classroom management, giving instructions. It's a portfolio task for that, based on what we'd learned. There was another one about aims and objectives, a portfolio task for that. And I really like these portfolio tasks because instead of just attending each session and kind of trying to take in what you had, as you can see, there's a lot to take in. Instead of just trying to take it in, you were given some work to do outside of the sessions. You'd go away, you'd do a bit of extra reading perhaps, you'd sit down and really think about what you'd been covering in the course and do that portfolio task. And some of them were pretty quick to do. There'd be like a couple of 100 words maybe on a particular area, but some of them you could really sink your teeth into. You had to do these portfolio tasks, but you also had to do the core assignments, and there are a couple of those. They had to be to a particular word count, and you'd have to go through and make sure you wrote everything that was required in the assessment guidelines, the criteria. And on top of all of this, as well as all of these different assignments and the portfolio tasks, we also had 4 observations. And the observations were really interesting. The person running the course here at IH Bielsko, Ella, she was really, spot on with her observation feedback. She gave lots of advice that could improve the next time round, and I could see it actually. You were graded on a load of areas for your observation. You'd have a lesson that you'd produce a very thorough lesson plan for. Ella would come and watch, she'd make copious notes, and then we'd have a feedback session afterwards that could take up to an hour in some cases. There's so much to go over, and I'd come away thinking, okay, so here are some things that I need to do to make my teaching better, and by implementing them in the next observation, I saw that my grades were improving. I was getting better at the observations. So there were 4 of those, 2 at one level with one age group, and 2 at a different level, different age group, so that there was a bit of variety there. So in terms of the course itself, I've listed a lot of the positive aspects here, and I think it's really worth doing for people like myself who have maybe been teaching for a little while, but we want to go back to school, as it were, and get better at the things that we're already doing. It's maybe not great for people who have just started teaching. If you're fresh off the CTYLT, it's better to spend some time kind of getting used to your own teaching style before you attempt something like this, because it is full on, and with a full teaching calendar, like a proper teaching week, and this on top, it can be a bit straining. But I do feel much more confident and much more capable of teaching in the young learner classroom now, and that's coming from somebody who has spent the last 10 years teaching. I've got 10 years of experience. This taught me some new tricks. It kind of reinforced the methodology. It made me reconsider some of the things that I'd taken for granted, and it was really beneficial. There were a couple of things that I would like to see improved in future versions of the Young Learner course. I think that International House are kind of redeveloping it to an extent. One thing that I think would really be a benefit would be if it was possible, or at least more possible, to get higher grades. One of the things that I thought was good about the CELTA was that you had your pass, then you had a pass B and a pass A, and it was pretty easy, if you put the work in anyway, it was pretty easy to see a route for getting from just a pass to a pass B. Getting there, of course, was difficult, but you could see the way to do it. And then to get the pass A again, you could see what you'd need to do to get there. The problem here was that the observations were graded, the assignment tasks were graded, but the portfolio tasks were simple pass or resubmit. That was it. So you could end up spending hours on something, produce something that was that showed a lot of work and a lot of background reading, and essentially you give it to the tutor, they look at it and say, yes, it is the thing. So you get a pass for it, and that's it. It would be nice if there was a grading system in the portfolio tasks to show when a teacher has made extra effort, that extra effort is being rewarded. And with the assignments and the observations, getting beyond just a core pass was just, for me, it was just too difficult. I just couldn't see a way of doing it. There might be, for example, 6 criteria against which you're judged, and to get a higher pass than just the normal standard pass, I think you had to get like a higher level in 4 of the 6 criteria, and that's just maybe too much. Maybe it's not achievable in most cases. The other thing that I didn't like necessarily about the course, because it kind of goes against my own teaching philosophy a little bit as well. When I'm teaching exam classes, one of the things that I make a big issue of is I spend a lot of time telling my students how the assessment works. So I won't take a piece of writing from them and say, yeah, it was good. I will give them a breakdown for every area and show them the assessment criteria I was using. So if it's like Cambridge C1 Advanced, we'll have the Advanced Handbook, we'll look at what Cambridge have given as the criteria, and we judge against that. Here, there wasn't that kind of transparency. If you wanted to know the difference between a standard and a strong grading, then there was no way to know. So you could do something and be like, well, I hope that was good enough, and then you find out that it was not quite what they wanted. I had to resubmit one of the assignments because something that I'd done didn't actually tick all the boxes. So I didn't know what the boxes were. If you don't know what the boxes are, how can you tick them? So that was a slight shortcoming of the course. I mean, it's not going to make a drastic difference given how difficult it is to get beyond just a standard pass anyway, but it would be nice to see some grading systems introduced and to see a little bit more transparency on the way that it's assessed. So just a very quick summary then to finish. The certificate in teaching young learners to teenagers offered by International House, and I think you can do it online through IH World. I don't know how it is online if you with the observations, but you can find that out. Anyway, it's great. It is really, really worth doing. If you're going to teach young learners, and let's face it, if you're in English teaching, you're probably going to have quite a few young learner classes. That's where the market's going these days. This is really an essential qualification. It shows commitment to your profession, and it shows commitment to improving yourself as a teacher. Now, a lot of it does rely on having the support of the school and a good tutor, and I was very lucky in that regard. My school, International House, Bielsko-Biala, they paid for the course. The only thing I had to pay for was the certificate, but they paid for the course, and it's fantastic to think that they did that for the 4 teachers taking this course. The tutor on our course, I was very fortunate that we had Ella Hudoba running this course. She's the Director of Studies here at IH Bielsko, and again, I think she made a big difference with the quality of the feedback she was able to offer. So if you're a teacher in the IH network, ask your school about this course. If you're a teacher generally, consider doing the course through IH World. And if you're looking for a new school and you're a young learners sort of teacher, come and join us here. Send in your application, because we run this course every year, and it's always good. It's always really worth doing. So that's it. Yay me.